Okay, so I watched episodes 4 and 5 of Symphogear G yesterday. So the first thing I have to bring up is Dr. Vare. I don't remember what episode it was. It might have been like episode 3 or so. And I just kind of forgot to say it. I heard his voice. It's like his voice actor is really, really familiar. And usually when I like really recognize a Japanese voice, like I can't remember their names. I'm really sorry about that. But I know it was the guy that voices Dio. And I'm like, oh, let me check if it's him. Because if I recognize him, there's a really good chance it's him because he has a really distinctive, familiar tone. And I looked, and he wasn't there. And I was like, okay, it wasn't him, but it's someone else that's really familiar to me. Let me figure this out. So I looked up who voiced him, and he does voice a character in JoJo. He voices Joseph Joestar, which to me means, oh, that explains it. I didn't recognize him because he's the guy that voices Dio. I know him because he's the guy that played Gintoki. That's why that voice was so familiar. But even then, I was like, that doesn't quite sound like Dio, but it's so familiar, and maybe it is. It's Gintoki. And the fact that the main antagonist has the same, because now I just am hearing Gintoki every time he talks. And it takes this character who's already kind of funny with just how like over the top crazy he is, like with all his faces and whatnot. But hearing Gintoki say these things makes the character way more entertaining. Like if you haven't watched Gintama, I sincerely implore you to do so. I marathoned it last year. I think I started around, no, when did I start? I started, I think, around May, and I finished it in September. So it was definitely a lengthy project, but my goal was like, all right, 2 episodes a day. If it's an arc, finish the arc. And I was able to make good progress. And that was even with, I know I took a long break to play Reverie for a couple weeks. Actually, I think that was the only like real break I took, but it was almost like a month to play Reverie. But which is coming in soon. But regardless, back to Symphogear. I had to bring up that he's fucking voiced by Gintoki and how amazing that makes it. There is a fight scene. It's like when the girls all start fighting at the start of the episode. The music in the background, I remember it from season 1, where they're just like chanting the word Symphogear in the back, which I just appreciate. I thought that was really cool. So in the fight, so it just kind of starts with Maria and Tsubasa, and I every time they fought so far, which is only like what, like twice, I guess maybe thrice, like the first fight when Tsubasa wasn't transformed, they're pretty fucking fun, and I like that both of them use a lot of spinning. Maria's got that sounds really bad. Her tornado, and then Tsubasa's got the handstand spin kick, which I think at this point is probably my favorite like recurring attack. I like it, I think, a little more than the dive bomb or the dive kick giant sword. If I saw the giant sword dive kick a bit more. So I just realized what the fuck I said. It's like, yeah, if I saw the thing where she makes a giant sword uses a dive kick more, I'd like it more. But it's cool when it shows up. But just the spinning handstand shit, I'm like, I just like it. I like that they both have signature spin moves. After that, you get the other 2 girls who show up, which I think I got their names wrong in the last episode, but we learned their other names. I'm not sure if they were their first names or the last names, but like these are the names I'm probably going to refer to them as because it's easier for me to remember. You've got Akatsuki is the blonde girl and Tsukuyomi is the girl with the black hair. It's easier for me to remember. Tsukuyomi means moon, so it's the very pale girl with the hair that looks like night. Akatsuki means dawn, so it's the one with like the brighter skin tone and the brighter hair color. Way easier for me to remember. So Akatsuki's song is all about like being the Grim Reaper and like how the embodiment of death is coming for you, which makes sense because she's using a scythe. I'm like, that song goes fucking hard. That's cool as shit. Tsukuyomi, I didn't really get a good look at it. I think I was like looking down and trying to write some notes. And then when I look up, so there's an episode of South Park I watched a long time ago. And it's about how Mr. Garrison invents this new form of travel where it's this like giant wheel thing, but you sit on it like a bicycle. And you've got, because it's South Park, there's like a thing you put in your mouth that's very phallic and a thing that goes in your butt that looks very phallic. And that's what like keeps you in place while you're pedaling on the thing. Because I think the plot of the episode was like, TSA is bullshit, I made my own form of travel. So the reason I bring that up is Tsukuyomi basically makes that. It's like this giant death wheel vehicle thing, and then she just starts riding it, like charging toward Hibiki. It's like, what the fuck just happened? That's cool. That's silly as hell, and that's cool. I love this. Yeah, I literally in my notes call it the Mr. Garrison death wheel. So like after the fight, everyone kind of splits up, goes their separate ways. The villains are talking, and so essentially what Dr. Vare says is like, okay, the moon monster, which I think is called the Nephilim, I believe that was correct. It's like essentially what it feeds on is like energy, like Symphogear energy, relic power, blah blah blah. So like what I want to do is I want to take the pendants of the other girls, because now they have that, they just wear pendants around their neck, which I guess like ties into their relic, which they didn't have in season 1. We have it now because it's a plot point. Sure. The new girls do it too. It's like you got a pendant around your neck and then you use a transform, blah, blah, blah. It's like if we can get their pendants, not only will we get ample food for the Nephilim, but we're also like getting rid of their Symphogear powers. So can you two, Akatsuki and Tsukuyomi, like see what you can do about that? Like go to the school, take their shit, blah, blah, blah. They specifically don't want Maria to do it because every time she uses her Gungar, apparently like Fiend starts to take over a little bit and starts eroding her soul. So Fiend apparently is in there but hasn't fully taken control yet. However, it's like, okay, so what Dr. Vare is saying actually kind of makes sense from a villain point of view. We get the food and we get rid of our enemy. This is a double win. I'm not bipolar, I'm bi-winning. I went over here, I went over there. That is a pretty bi-winning strategy. The problem is, he specifically is looking at Akatsuki when he says it, and then she's got the pendant around her neck, which is right next to her boobs. So, while you can tell he's looking at the pendant, it looks like he's just staring at her boobs, and then he makes this, like, a really creepy face after, which, in context, is, oh, I'm just about to be brilliant. I came up with a really shifty plan. The way it comes across is he's like, titties, and it's really bizarre. Oh, sorry, what fucking happened? I was like, I had to make a note of that because that was some shit, man. Essentially what happens is they don't even really break into the school because it's the school festival, so they kind of show up and you get some musical performances. You've got Hibiki and Miku's other friends, like the girl who loves anime and her two droogs, who dress up as like a Super Sentai team. It's like the superhero, a bug monster, and then like I don't know, I think she looked like a jewel thief or some shit. They start singing for a bit and then they get gonged. It's like, nah, you suck, leave. Chris gives a solo performance. It's very beautiful. The vocalists in the show are fucking great. And then Akatsuki and Tsukuyomi show up and they're like, hey, we're going to do this. Because he said, hey, whoever wins gets a wish from like the student council, right? Like a believable wish. It's not like some Madoka Bakuka or Dragon Ball Zatch Bell kind of shit. So it's like, essentially what they're saying is like, what we want to do is we want to win. And then we're going to take your fucking pendants, part of our wish. Bet. So that's how the episode ends. So the next episode starts. I think it like finishes Chris's performance. They give their challenge. They do a performance, which is a song that Tsubasa and Kanade used to do, and they fucking slay it. Because again, the vocal performances in the show are really fucking good. While that is happening, it cuts to what Maria, her mom. Actually, okay, I don't know if it's actually her mom, because I think Akatsuki and Tsukuyomi also call her mom, and I don't know if the three of them are all siblings. But while this is happening, you get like what's going on with them, and you also get Maria backstory. I don't remember if it's in that scene or not, but you do get it in the episode, so I'll include it here. So the short version is their hideout is under attack by the military. I don't remember which one. I don't know if they specifically said it was America, if it was Japan or somewhere. But they're being attacked by a bunch of soldiers, and then the mom, who is dying, because they talk about how Maria is on a time limit because every time she uses her power, Fiend takes over, and the mom's on a time limit because she's sick. She's like, Maria, you need to go in there and you need to protect the hideout. And by protect the hideout, yes, I do mean kill all of them. Kill all of the interlopers. Sorry, real quick thing. Last week, I don't know if I've said this on the channel, Last week, when I was playing Pathfinder, there was a scene where we fought a bunch of were-rats, and in their human forms, they were gnomes. And there's a part where we just walk into the room, and a gnome just looks at us and goes, "Interlopers!" And I laughed really fucking hard. So, you gotta go eliminate the interlopers. But Maria says no, because she doesn't want to hurt people. She specifically does not want to kill people, which was something alluded to earlier when she let all the hostages go, and it was very clear, I don't want to kill people if I don't have to. Dr. Vare, creepy Gintoki that he is like, no, I'll fucking go. I'll fucking do it. So he just starts summoning noise with the Staff of Solomon, who are just killing these people, while Akatsuki and Tsukuyomi are absolutely slaying their song. So all this shit is happening, and then at the end, a couple kids come by on bicycles, they get a little lost. They end up finding the hideout. And Dr. Vare sees him and goes, "Oh, free real estate," and then just fucking kills the kids, and Maria has an emotional breakdown after seeing it. As her backstory, I don't remember if it was here or if it was maybe a little later in the episode, it is that monochrome scene that opened the season, with the Nephilim, I guess it was going crazy and out of control. Her sister, Serena, performed her swan song, which I guess kind of reset the Nephilim. And that's why they're trying to wake it up and give it power and shit, but using her swan song killed her. And then as she's dying, she's singing this other really, it sounds like a very childish kind of song, but it's sung in a very sad kind of way. And then you see the blood coming out of her eyes and out of her lips, like what happened with Tsubasa in episode 4, episode 5, I don't remember exactly which one, but when Tsubasa first used her swan song, it's oh, this is stuck with Maria forever. Got it. It also kind of reminded me, for me, I feel seeing it in color definitely made the scene a bit creepier, but it reminded me of something very similar made in Abyss, where I don't remember what layer of the Abyss it is. I want to say it's 3 or 4, which is okay, if you go up from here, you will bleed out of every orifice. In the anime, it looks very fucked up. In the manga, I remember that shit looked fucked. It's the monochrome, but the blood just being all black and shit, that was fucking terrifying. Let's see. What the fuck does that say? Sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes, and I don't even know what the fuck that says. It's something duel in the background. Oh, with the hype duet, not duel. Sorry, that was the shit I was just talking about. The shit Vare did while the duet's going on in the background. Might be. We're good now. So after that, we're about to find out who won the singing competition, and then a call comes in saying, "Hey, Akatsuki, Suku, they found the hideout. You guys gotta come back." Hold on a second. We might have won this competition. If we won the competition, we can get the pendants. So it might be better for us to, hear the results, see if we won, and if we did, take our winnings, and then come back. No, you stupid fucks, get back here now. And they're like, oh, well, so much for that plan. I guess we gotta go back, and we don't find out who won the competition. I don't know if that's something we find out later, or if it's just not important. But they have to go back. As they're going back, the main trio follows them for a bit, and they're like, hey, here's what we'll do. Let's agree to a duel. And I don't even think they say we're going to put our pendants on the line, but more or less implied. It's we're going to have a duel, we're going to settle shit. So they leave. Main characters are just kind of told to be on standby because there's been some noise alerts. Akatsuki and Suku go back to Vare and Mom and Maria. Mom slaps them both, being you idiots, you're trying to duel. And what it feels like is she's essentially saying, I think she even does say, this is not a game. You all have to take this very seriously. Maria doesn't want to fucking kill. You guys are over there farting around in music competitions. What the fuck is wrong with you? Which I get. But also with them literally saying, hey, we found a way to take the pendants and we might have just pulled it off. Can you give us a second to see what happens? Because maybe we just solved our problems. And for her to say, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you taking this seriously? Dude, she almost, they potentially just gave you the W. What's wrong with you? I get it, you're on a time limit, and, them fighting the hideout is very important, but by the time you called them, Vare had taken care of the problem. It was really fucked up, but he took care of the problem. Might have been a little arrogant that get finished. And then even Bear's like, hold on. This duel idea doesn't sound so bad, actually. I think that's pretty big brain. So the location of the duel, of course, is the Tower of Babel. And when they get there, the other magical girls, I guess Symphogear users, aren't there. Ver is, he summons some noise. They fight some noise, and the Nephilim is there. I think it's bigger than it was the first time. But they start fighting it. And there's one very specific thing I need to talk about, but I want to make sure. Do I have anything else to say? I guess this is about when Maria's backstory happened, according to my notes. So that was a little. So just a couple other quick things. One is, for some reason now the moon looks like Saturn, where it's got like these rings around it. I assume that's supposed to be because like when they like blew up that crater that was coming toward the moon, that's what the rings are. It's like the dust from it, which is actually pretty cool. Ver talks about how the moon is actually still falling, and a lot of different organizations and countries of the world are trying to figure out how to stop it, or more accurately, how do we survive the fall? I remember I wrote something down about Miku, where in season 1, Miku felt very important. Is she doing any Symphogear shit? No. But her relationship and friendship with Hibiki is very important. This is the thing that kind of anchors Hibiki, gives her something to fight for, and their friendship is given a lot of focus. So far, 5 episodes into season 2, she's maybe had like 4 total minutes of screen time. She is an afterthought. And I remember at one point going, oh, you poor thing, you're the new Yuno. Yuno from Lyrical Nanoha in the first season was her companion. He's the little weasel animal thing that gives her powers. And then later he turns back into his human form, and it's like, oh, this is her companion. This guy taught her all this shit, goes with her on missions. They seem to, when he transforms, they maybe have a little bit of a crush on each other. Okay, I guess this is important. And then in A's, he's just not anymore. Like, oh man, I think Yuno did like one cool thing where, what was the name of the girl? Was it like Hayate? I don't remember, but like the red-haired girl with like the giant hammer is about to attack somebody. Yuno shows up, like makes a shield. And I think that was the one cool thing he did in A's. And I couldn't really get into Strikers. From what I understand, yeah, he's just not a factor anymore. I'm like, Miku, I'm sorry, you've just become the new Yuno. Your prognosis ain't looking good from here on out, bucko. But a bunch of noise gets summoned. The crew is fighting. There's a point where Chris and Tsubasa get a bunch of like sticky webs on them so they can't fight. Hibiki is fighting, doing what she can to protect them, and there's a point where Ver says some dumb shit. It was something along the lines of, every time you fight, you're putting more people in danger. Or it's like, every time you fight the noise, you're just getting more people killed. And Hibiki stops, and we're going to put a very big pin in the consequences of her stopping mid-fight, which, actually thinking about it, makes a lot of sense, because it's something she kind of gets chastised for a few times, especially in season 1. It's like, hey, we're in the middle of a fight, can you not do this now? So, that's actually a really clever thing to happen. On the one hand, the fact that he's like, hey, every time you help somebody, you're hurting somebody. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. What are you talking about? Because, like, literally she is fighting monsters. She is blowing up monsters that kill people just by touching them. This doesn't... Okay, so essentially what I'm saying... Let me say it like this. Ver saying bullshit out of his ass to fuck with her makes perfect sense. This guy's a sneaky sumbitch. And the fact that he knows that, like, when Suku was like, hey, you don't have a right to talk about helping people when you don't know what it's like to, like, be down in the gutter and shit. He knows that those kind of things can get to her. And we have seen, especially in this season, there are points where she would just kind of freeze when someone would say something to her, and then someone would have to, like, shield her. So him pulling shit out of his ass makes a lot of sense. It's actually a really clever trick. From her perspective, though, I'm like, why are you falling for that? Like, that, what he's saying actually doesn't make sense. I know I say this a lot, especially when I'm talking about Symphogear. I'm like, but this reminds me of this from something, and we're going to go on a little bit of a tangent. It reminds me of reading Fate Stay Night, which I fucking love, by the way. I've made a lot of videos talking about how much I really liked it. A recurring theme in Fate Stay Night is that Shiro Emiya wants to be a hero. He wants to be able to help people. And I feel like depending on the route, it emphasizes a different motivation for it. I feel like there's the survivor's guilt, there's carrying on his father's legacy, there's just wanting to be a good person. And I feel like they're there at every route, but in some routes it seems to emphasize more aspects than others. But regardless, one thing his father Kiritsugu really emphasized to him is that Shiro, if you want to be a hero, if you want to help people, you have to understand you cannot save everybody. Saving one person means you are making the choice to not save someone else. And in context, that makes a lot of sense. Like, okay, like if you're stopping a robbery and you're helping the person being robbed, it does mean you're not helping the person doing the robbing. Like you're saying, I'm going to help this person and actively hurt you. And you can't really save both. Like if Superman is, using his super hearing to hear for someone in danger, and he hears somebody and he helps them, he is making the choice that this person is my priority, and if I hear someone else, I can't do that until I finish this. That makes sense. And, given the themes of Fate's Day Night, which to me really is just analyzing what it means to be that kind of person. Like, to be this degree of selfless, where, like, I just want to help people. And why that's a bad thing, and why to be that kind of person, you have to be so fundamentally broken. And that's why, I love the way Shiro is written. I think in the Fate route, it's okay. Unlimited Blade Works is fantastic, I think, kind of all around. I have my problems with Heaven's Feel, but Shiro is absolutely not one of them. Holy shit. Anyway, back to Symphogear, though. So I'm like, they're saying this makes a lot of sense. The fact that Hibiki would actually be affected by it, though, I'm like, this... I guess it makes sense because she's being affected by this kind of shit in this season, but it just didn't make it. What he actually said made no sense to me, so I was like, Hibiki, what the fuck? Also, hi, bub. Did you just want to be in the video? Did you just want to be in the video? Did you want to say anything about Symphogear? There's it just looks like it's super hazy, but no, that's just my cat and his fur. Anyway, so while Bahamut is on the screen, I will keep talking. So like I said, throughout the season, there have been a lot of times when Hibiki will get kind of stuck because someone says shit, and then Chris or Tsubasa, or both of them, will step in front of her, blow some shit up, take a hit or two, to be like, hey, get your head in the game. Since they are indisposed, no one is able to do that. So Hibiki, mid-punch, gets distracted, and then next thing she knows, her hand is just in the thing's mouth. She's like, and then it bites. And it rips her fucking arm off. And you just see, the shock and terror on her face when her hand is in its mouth. Then, the screen goes, I think it goes, black and red, and, you just see the blood fucking, in shadow, so you can't show that, just gushing out of her wound. And then just the shock of, what just happened? And she sees the thing. I don't remember if her arm was still kind of, in its mouth. I don't remember. But she's sitting there, and you can see it's, taking her a moment to process what the fuck just happened. And then she screams. And that's how the episode ends. And I remember just thinking to myself, what a fucking way to end an episode. Holy shit. That is hype. But it's not a good hype. It's not like a, damn, that's so fucking cool. That's a, oh, that's bad. How are they going to get out of this one? Because I know they will, but I really don't know how. I also don't know if this is something that gets fixed. It's is she able to, grow a new arm? Can a Symphogear do that for its wielder? I genuinely don't know. Or do they, make a fake arm for her? I don't know. Is she permanently crippled for the rest of the story? And then thinking about it, too, it's well, what's her thing? Is I hold hands, and that's how we tune. You can't do that anymore. It's maybe you can hold hands with, one of your party members if they're using their swan song, and maybe you can still kind of help and take some of the strain off. But if both of them are doing it, well, someone's gonna be fucked. Oh, this actually has a lot of really interesting implications and applications. I'm very excited to see what happens. So I feel like these were two really good episodes. I feel like episode 4 was a solid episode overall. Episode 5 was really fucking good. So we're almost halfway through season 2. Are you done, bub? We're over a third of the way, almost halfway. I do work today, but I'm expecting that sometime after work, I'll watch the next couple episodes. So hopefully by the end of today, I will be halfway done with the season. Very fucking excited to see where it goes. But speaking of where this video was gonna go, because you can see I'm not just right about to end it, because I watched the new episode of Pokemon Horizon yesterday, and I've been watching it every week, like when it airs. There was a couple weeks where it was just on break. Excuse me. And I haven't really felt the need to talk about it. Mostly it's like I like it, I'm invested, I think it's cool, I want to see where it goes. But since it's like was really the only thing I was watching, I was like, do I want to make an episode just saying this is what happened in Pokemon Horizon today? It was kind of cool. These characters are pretty likable. I want to see where it goes. This is like a fun Saturday morning cartoon. That's it. Because I haven't felt like I had a lot of specifics. And then watching this episode is like, okay, there's actually a lot of shit to say. Number one, I think it just looked really good. I consistently loved the lighting in the episode. There's this one really cool part where they're fighting, what is it called? A Beheem Elegim? I don't remember. It's the psychic alien thing that I think was introduced in Gen 5 and a Magneton at the same time. So the Magneton, like the trainer who is controlling them remotely, which I think is actually pretty cool, is like, all right, Magneton, use Electro Ball. So it uses Electro Ball, and then someone else uses an attack, like Water Gun or something, and like, okay, we're going to hit together and cancel out your attack. He's like, okay, alien dude, use Psychic. Which, in the anime, what Psychic always does is it lets you actually control shit and move it around. So it's like, okay, he starts moving around the Electro Ball so they can't hit it. So it's just going to hit somebody. It's like, that's actually a really clever strategy and idea. That's really fucking cool. I like that. During the battle, Roy, who I think is probably my favorite character in the show, I fucking love Roy. So Roy sends out his two Pokemon. He's got a Fuecoco, which in Japanese is called Hogator, and which I think Ho does mean fire, so it's like Fire Gator. I'm probably going to be calling it that almost any time I'm talking about this show. So it's Hogator and Watchroll, which is the electric bird, the regional bird from Paldea. And what I fucking love is that during the battle, Fuecoco and Watchroll, I just would call it Hogator, but I'm not, who knows, just start attacking each other. Like, they just kind of start squabbling in the middle of combat, and I thought it was really funny and pretty on brand. And it looks like the next episode is actually going to be focusing on the two of them hating each other and getting over it, and I'm glad we're going to get an entire episode to that. I almost sound sarcastic, but I don't. It's like, that actually sounds funny as fuck. Let's see, there's a part in the episode where Liko gets her pendant back, it activates, and it summons the giant Arbolivia, which, again, looks really cool, it's very pretty, and then the Arbolivia just gives a death stare to the dude that stole it, and I love his Umbreon, which, I mean, I'm always gonna love an evolution, just kind of gently tugging on his sleeve, like, my boy, we need to go. Now, that thing, that is outside my pay grade. I can't deal with that. You cannot deal with that. And if this giant powerful thing is giving us that death stare, we need to have left 10 minutes ago. Like, I loved that shit. What else was there? So just a couple other quick notes. Is just the shit they did with Dot. They're definitely doing a lot more with her. It feels like she is now, instead of just the Squidward hanging out with her room and doesn't want to become friends, she's becoming more involved in her relationship with Liko and Roy. She actually catches the Quaxley, which I thought she already had, and the show even kind of brings that up. Like, wait, you didn't already catch him? No, he was just kind of on the ship, and we just hang out. I guess I'll do it now. And yeah, she throws the ball, and because she has a terrible arm, the ball barely goes forward, and Quaxley has to jump up and catch himself. I thought that was really funny. She does reveal that she is Gurumin to Liko at the end of the episode because Liko still hadn't figured it out. And I was like, that's a pretty fun way to end the episode. Also, with our villains, the Explorers, we get another scene, because I think this has happened like another time or two, where we just kind of see them all gathered in their like the boss's chamber or whatever the fuck. And the entire time I'm like, wait, it's a bunch of characters. These are all the antagonists. And they show up as like holograms. This is just like the fucking celestial globe from Trails in the Sky. Which, I mean, it's in the other games too, but it first shows up in the third. I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I genuinely getting Ouroboros vibes from a fucking Pokemon show? What the hell? I was like, these are actually some pretty cool designs. I want to know what these characters are all about. I really genuinely do want to see where is this show going. Which is not really something I said about Pokemon. I guess in a way I did for Aim to be a Master. It was like, this is the end of 1,000 fucking episodes. I do want to see where they are going with the end of this damn show. But aside from that, it was like, I know where it's going. He's going to get all the Kalos badges. He's going to get all the... I mean, I guess Alola kind of did its own shit too. But generally, it's like, all right, we're going to collect all the shit. And then go fight the Pokemon League. And then probably lose. And then with this one, it's like, okay, like he's got to win, right? He's got to win, right? But blah, blah, blah. I feel genuinely like I don't really know where this show is going. I guess it's like we're going to travel the world. We're going to find all the ancient heroes, specific Pokemon. There's the Black Rayquaza. There's the giant Arbolivia. I think there's 4 more because that would be a team of 6. I want to see that. I want to see more of these antagonists, like the cool shit they do with their Pokemon. What their overall vibe is, like what the boss's plan is, like what is the deal with the pendant. Like I genuinely want to know. So, yeah, it's pretty damn fun, and the 2 episodes of Symphogear were really good. So, just good shit all around.